So yesterday, I still can't believe it. Yesterday we got the news that Jake Paul, I still can't believe this fight actually was exhibition, but right, we're not going to labour the point on it. Jake Paul is going to fight Tank Davis. There's going to be about 70-80 pound weight difference. There's probably going to be nears, makes no difference, a foot in height. It's just ridiculous. It really, truly is. I just still can't quite believe it. And I still can't believe Tank Davis is allowed to do this as a current world champion. Some people could say, oh, he's looking to fight AJ. Yeah, I wouldn't have liked that fight, but I wouldn't have been okay with it, but he's not a world champion, so there's that. This is the point of this video that I want to talk about. So, hallelujah. AJ is not facing Jake Paul. I certainly didn't want to see that fight. I think the majority of people didn't. Anthony Joshua, although I think he is past his best, I think that's pretty much universally almost agreed upon by most people anyway, that he is past his best and he's on the decline. He said himself he's likely to be gone probably within the next year. I mean, he originally said, I think before the Dubois fight last year, 2026, he was looking at bowing out before he turns 36 or 7, thereabouts. But roughly 2026 is last year. So we're near the end, right? There's no ifs or buts. There's no him and han. We're near the end for Anthony Joshua. I didn't want him to fight Jake Paul for a variety of reasons. One, if it went any longer than a round, you'd have people either saying it's fixed, or you'd have people really just bashing AJ and saying he's terrible, he's this, he's that, all this stuff. He's always been a hype job. He's always been this, that, and the other. None of which is true. I didn't want to see it for those reasons, and the fact of the matter is, if AJ has anything left in the tank, I'd like to see him try and at least fulfill something with what he has left in the tank, not wasted on a YouTuber like Jake Paul, and not wasted. You already had one gimmick fight against Ngannou. You absolutely robbed the bank with that. Knocked him out with one shot. Brilliant knockout. You can only use that. You only do that so much, right? So now the good thing is, this fight ain't happening. Obviously, the DAZN Netflix thing was always going to be an issue, and it frees Anthony Joshua up now, because we know AJ wasn't holding out just for Jake Paul. He was mentioning sites in Ghana that he could be potentially fighting in. We're hearing names like Tony Yoka, Martin Bacoli, people like that. And that, for me, is the path AJ should go down. Now, in an ideal world, right, for Anthony Joshua, in an ideal world, he would fight Tyson Fury. Either December this year or at some point next year. Maybe he'd want to run out beforehand. But in an ideal world, that's the fight to make. And it's the biggest money fight. It's still an appealing fight to the casual audience. I mean, at the end of the day, right, Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr., when it was a very forced fight from start to finish. It seemed like that back in 22 when it was originally meant to take place. It just never seemed to go away. It was always Ben Eubank, Ben Eubank, Ben Eubank. Eventually it happened and it was good. The build up was really, really fun, really entertaining. It was like WWE. The Egg, Eubank Senior, and then the fight delivered. So you take all that, the casual fans lapped it up the first time. They're going to absolutely have a field day with it come November. Now, there are two fighters who, with the greatest respect, one of them is definitely past his best, or I think close to being past his best, in Chris Eubank Jr. hasn't won a world title, nor has Conor Benn. And Conor Benn is fighting outside of his preferred weight. Didn't matter. Not going to matter this time around. People are still going to watch it. And they're still going to watch it. And I think that's the same with Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua times 10. Because they are much bigger names than both Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. And that would do phenomenal numbers even now. As I've always said, the perfect time to do it was in 2021. And we were teased. We had the carrot dangled in front of us. We thought we were going to get it. This is before Turki Al-Sheikh came into the sport. We were hearing from different Saudis. I think it was Skill Challenge, Prince Khalif, I think his name was, that it was going to happen. And then the next day, after Fury made that video saying it will happen, the Court of Arbitration ruled in Deontay Wilder's favour, and that was a gut punch if ever we had one. I think now is the time to do it. Neither guy has a belt. Both guys coming off defeats. Doesn't matter. People still lap it up. And I think seeing Tyson Fury on a recent trip away looking way out of shape. I mean, say what you want to say about Anthony Joshua, you'll never see him out of shape. You never will. You never see him out of shape. Maybe Fury, given the fact that we don't know how he's going to be after those back-to-back Usyk fights, he's not been, living the cleanest life, because he does look pretty bad shape, certainly in some of the picks from the holiday picks. He'll have to get that weight off. God knows at this stage in his career, all the wear and tear the two Usyk fights take as well, how that will affect him. I would still favour Fury to beat Anthony Joshua. I would, because we're talking about 2 defeats to Alexander Usyk where, yeah, he was hurt, especially in the first fight. He was hurt in the first fight. He was stunned a little bit in the second fight, but nothing crazy. He was beaten comprehensively both times, make no mistake about it. But he wasn't laid flat out and dropped repeatedly like Anthony Joshua was against Daniel Dubois. And we don't know how Fury will be, but likewise we don't know how AJ will be either. And I think probably best to just, if that fight is feasible, just go and do it. If it's a 2-fight deal, happy days. You sail off into the sunset after. You maybe win the first fight, maybe. I wouldn't be picking him to, and see how the second. You know what I mean? Whereas I think chasing a Dubois, even now I still don't think that's a good idea. Even after everything, I think Dubois just has his number. He's never going to beat Alexander Usyk, certainly not now. And yeah, you got the likes of Atoma who are on the come up. I think for Anthony Joshua, it's 2 things. It's you either have a comeback fight against someone like a Tony Yoka, and that's a name that's being mentioned consistently with Anthony Joshua. A very winnable fight. Yoka hasn't looked good for years. He doesn't appear to have the same punching power since he missed those PED tests back a couple of years ago and then served some time out of the ring for it. He hasn't had the same punching power. I mean, he was hurting Dave Allen very badly, who has a very good chin. And Dave Allen was even saying how hard he hits. You go from hurting Dave Allen, who again takes some, Dave Allen's been in there with big punchers, and to say you're one of the top guys he's been in terms of power, that says something. To go from that to not being able to tickle Carlos Takam, I mean, there you go. And Takam, yeah, is a good chin too, but still, if you're hurting Dave Allen, you should be able to hurt Takam, and you're not, and he's walking straight through you. Same with Bacoli, So I think that fight right there for AJ makes sense. For Yoka, it makes sense because what kind of money has Yoka made? He probably would have turned pro with some good sponsorships over in France, but in terms of his boxing, as in the ring, has he made any 7-figure paydays? I'd be very surprised if he has, truth be told. So there you go. I would do that as a comeback fight, and then maybe see what way Fury is. I don't buy Fury being retired, even still. He looks in bad shape, yeah, but I think he's just sitting around waiting for the right time to come back and see what he can do. The longer you leave it, the worse it's going to be. That's what I got to say on that one for Tyson Fury. But yeah, that's what I think AJ should do. Maybe look at a fight against someone like a Tony Yoka, a Joe Joyce. That might still do decent. No, probably not really, would it? No, probably wouldn't. He'd win it. I'd be picking AJ to win it, but you know what I mean? It probably wouldn't. Yeah, I was saying that you probably would Tony Yoka, but you're coming back off a loss, so there you go. But I think that's the thing. Hold out for the Tyson Fury fight. See if it can be made. And just try and make the most of this last year. Now, personally, for me, I'd like to see AJ retire, but he's not gonna. Certainly not anytime soon. Certainly not this year. And if he insists on doing it, have to come back fight Tony Yoka and then straight into a big fight. Let's see what you can do. Let's see what we have left in the tank. Andy Ruiz was commenting saying, I think words to the effect of, don't underestimate what AJ still has left. Andy Ruiz has shared the ring with Anthony Joshua twice. He knows what to expect from him. That was a much younger Anthony Joshua. It's not so much younger Andy Ruiz, but maybe he knows what he's talking about. I don't think so. For me, I just think AJ, he's never got over the demons in that fight, the Ruiz fight, and you compound that with the Usyk defeats and then that devastating knockout loss against Daniel Dubois. That's the one right there where I look at and I just think, you can't, how are you going to come back from that? The Ruiz fight was embarrassing. You were hurt several times, you were down several times. You did finish it on your feet, and you struggled to come back from that. How on earth are you going to come back from a beating like that? And older as well, was a younger Joshua. I just don't see it. Let me know though your thoughts in the comment section below. Anthony Joshua's next move. What do you think we should be doing? I say just bank on a Fury fight. Bank on that Fury fight. Let me know your thoughts. Hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, as always, if you haven't already. Lads and lassies. Till next time. Peace.